Hello, Dr. Bragg. Hello, everyone in business and professional communications. I want to start by saying thank you to Dr. Bragg for this opportunity. Regardless of the outcome, I am very happy to just even be considered for this position. Before we get into it, I want to go ahead and tell you a little bit about myself, just to give you an idea of who I am and who you'd be working with if I were to accept and be offered and accept this position. So my name is Devin Early. I am 25, almost 26 years old. I'm a recent graduate of Northeast State Community College. I do have plans to enroll at the University of Tennessee and complete my bachelor's in political science before potentially heading to law school. So I was born and raised in Greenville, Tennessee, not that far from here. Very wholesome area, very good family. Very great place to grow up in. So I love to hike in my free time, lift weights. I'm a very active person. Anything outdoors, especially during the summers, I'm game for it. So that's enough about me. We can go ahead and get on with the interview. And I'll go ahead, let's see. Why am I a good fit for this position? I have always had a very deep interest in law and policy, political theory, things like that, which all kind of fall under practicing law. I think because of that deep interest in law that I will only want to continue to further that knowledge, further my ability in practicing law, and just always striving to do better and to practice as the law requires and as we interpret it to do so. So that I think would make me an excellent fit and an asset to the district attorney's office for sure. What skills from previous experiences have I learned that will help me in this job? So I've always worked in a setting that is very public. I've bartended and I've worked in stores, I've been an insurance agent, all fields that heavily deal with face-to-face interactions with people. It has, in result, made me, in my opinion, an excellent communicator, and it in such a way that I feel like I can communicate with almost anyone, which, as we know, communication is a huge part of practicing law, and it's just something that I have really picked up on over the years, in my adult life, over my period of time in the workforce. It's just something that I have picked up on and at this point in my life greatly excel at. Let's see, moving on to the next one, my most recent book. So this is, from what I've been told, a little controversial. The most recent book I read was called The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. I loved this book. I thought that it was very beneficial to me in the way that it taught me different ways to view interactions and to really dig deep for the things that I want. I think it's interpreted in the right way, that it's an excellent book for anyone, especially anyone that is very driven and motivated to get what they want out of life. So that was the most recent book that I read, and I really took a lot from it. It was a great read and something I would recommend to anyone, especially anyone working on some big goals in their life. Moving on to the next one, where do I see myself in 5 years? In 5 years, I will hopefully be practicing as an assistant district attorney with the Sullivan County District Attorney's Office. During those 5 years, let me back up a little bit. Over my time living in Sullivan County and East Tennessee, I have noticed the types of crimes, violent crimes and drug crimes that have worsened over time. So in 5 years, I'd like to see myself really being a member of the state's DA's office and helping to reduce that crime. But of course, in 5 years, I see myself working at this office. But to be more specific, would be that to reduce the amount of violent and drug crimes that we see here in our area personally. A goal for myself within the first 90 days of this office or in this position as opposed to 5 years would be to, one, begin to crack down on these violent and drug crimes as we just previously spoken about. But two, within my first 90 days, I'd like to begin becoming not just an excellent attorney, but an excellent Tennessee attorney. We go into these positions to be servants to the public, and within my first 90 days, I would really like to start perfecting that itself, being a great servant to the public, a great service to the people of Sullivan County and in Tennessee, and just really practicing and interpreting the way that they ask us and expect us to do. Let's see, how did I select my major? So was a double major at Northeast State. I doubled in sociology and communications. I did choose both of those. I know it's something you don't hear very often when you hear of pre-law students, but I chose both of them because one, a huge part of that career field, as we said earlier, is communication. It requires you to be an excellent communicator, to win cases, to interpret cases, to interpret the law, which is one big reason why I chose communications. I'm also a sociology major. The study of people, sociology, was important to me because I feel that if you can understand the way people behave, why they do the things that they do every day, then you can, in result, understand crime and law and how to interpret it, because crime is committed by people, law is written by people. If you understand one, it's highly likely that you can understand the other. Last question. Okay, right. My top strength and 3 weaknesses. So I feel like I have said this a lot. My top strength, definitely my ability to communicate. I'm a great talker, great talker. I can carry on a conversation. I'm able to talk people down in negative situations and hopefully, bring them back up to a good spot where they should be. So communication, definitely huge asset to me personally. I'm a great communicator and I can talk to just about anyone. Some weaknesses that I have. I definitely can be a very stubborn person. It's something that I try to work on because I know that if you can tone down on that a little bit, it becomes easier to see and understand the opinions of those around you who may have just as valuable, if not more valuable opinions than you do. Another one would probably be, I do struggle from time to time with my ego, but I try my best to always redeem myself in that area when it's possible, and because it's not exactly something that I'm proud of, but I do embrace it and acknowledge the fact that I have an issue with it sometimes. If that's all, I want to go ahead and thank you, Dr. Bragg, again for the opportunity. Thank you everyone for listening. I appreciate, again, even your consideration for this position. So everyone have a great evening. Thank you again. Business and Professional Communications, Devin Early.